welcome. I'm Harriet Agbeni. Tonight, Ekiti APC lawmakers serve Governor Fayose impeachment notice. Ekiti Factional Speaker once embattled Ekiti Speaker Dr. Adewale Omiri arrested and prosecuted. A wave of protests trailed the National Assembly elections in the southeast and north-central regions. And Kenyan President Uhuru Kenyatta vows tough response to Al-Shabaab militant attack on Garissa University.
On Business News tonight, market observers foresee a regulatory address next week on liquidity returns.
And on sports news, Nigeria's Caterpillars crash out in the first round of the African Champions League for a third consecutive season.
We begin tonight in Ekiti State, in Nigeria's southwest region, where the 19 All Progressives Congress lawmakers in the State House of Assembly have served the state governor, Mr. Fayose, a notice of gross misconduct. A petition written by the aggrieved lawmakers say 8 impeachable allegations have been leveled against the governor. The lawmakers have given the governor 7 days' notice to respond to these allegations. Governor Fayose, in an initial response, describes the lawmakers as, quote, jesters, end of quote. However, Dr. Adewale Omiri, a factional speaker of the State House of Assembly, in this telephone interview with Channels Television this evening, speaks more on the burning issue.
Well, there's nothing to say more about it. We have sent a notice of impeachment to him for breaching some constitutional provisions of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1989 as amended. And the impeachment offenses are about 8. And I don't know whether you have gotten the list of that impeachment offenses. The first one is instigating a constitutional takeover of the House by 7 PDP legislators to sit in contravention of Section 96, subsection 2 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999 as amended. The second is prevention of the 19 APC legislators from performing their legislative duties with the use of security agents, armed thugs. The third one is sponsoring of unlawful impeachment in the House, running of government of a state with only 3 ESCO members, then spending a state fund without the requested constitutional mandate, then operating illegal 2014 budget in contravention of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999 as amended, and sponsoring and instigating illegal sitting of the House contrary to Section 6, subsection 1 of the Constitution. Those are the offenses. Well, as far as I'm concerned, we know he's a jester. Let us wait and see who is a jester between himself, his speaker, and myself. We sent the letter to him. You know he will not accept that he received it. You know the kind of person he is. You know the kind of person he will not accept that he received it. But the most important issue, the most important point is that he has accepted it, either online or whichever way.
Meanwhile, the factional speaker of the Ekiti State House of Assembly, Mr. Dele Olugbemi, has dismissed a purported notice of impeachment against Governor Ayodele Fayose and his deputy, Dr. Olushola Eleka, by the All Progressives Congress lawmakers. In a petition to the State Commissioner of Police, Taiwo Lakanu, and Director of the Department of State Service, Samuel Tamino, Mr. Olugbemi asked them to prosecute the embattled Speaker, Dr. Adewale Omiri, for alleged forgery, impersonation, and attempt to breach the public peace. 7 People's Democratic Party lawmakers had on November 20, 2014, impeached Dr. Omiri and his deputy. Mr. Olugbemi, an ally of the governor, was installed as a speaker by the faction and has been presiding over the assembly. It describes the notice of impeachment as a ploy by the APC to distract the state government. According to him, the assembly never sat at any time to deliberate or pass any motion for impeachment of Governor Fayose. While the presidential and National Assembly elections have been conducted, votes have been counted and winners have emerged. But controversy continues to trail results announced in certain parts of the country. A case in point is in Abia State, where the 3 candidates of the People's Democratic Party for the 3 senatorial districts were returned, while 8 federal House members were also re-elected. Part of these results are, however, being disputed and contested, not only by the candidates who lost out, but by an INEC official who was directly involved in the polls. The returning officer for Abia North Senatorial District, Dr. Ihekwaba Chukwugoziem, says that the process was characterized by massive fraud and irregularities in the 5 local government areas that make up the Abia North Senatorial District. However, the Director, Media and Voter Education, INEC Headquarters, Umuahia, Edwin Enabo, has gone ahead to release the results being contested.
Tempers are at fever pitch. The political combatants in Abia State are at loggerheads over the outcome of the Abia North Senatorial District polls. Again, this depends on the fortunes of the individuals involved. Those who lost out say the entire process was flawed and compromised, while the winners harbor no objections.
We are disappointed that the exercise was characterized by fraud.
There were incidents of ballot snatching at Umunochi. Some of the wards that had their result sheets snatched. The result sheets eventually resurfaced and were used to write ward collation results.
All the results from all those wards, local government, federal constituency, is evident and very clear that I won the elections clearly.
The issue gets more complicated. While the returning officer for Abia North Senatorial District, Dr. Ihekwaba Chukwugoziem, says that the process was characterized by massive fraud and should be rerun, the Director of Media and Voter Education, INEC Headquarters, Umuahia, Mr. Edwin Enabo, has gone ahead to release the results being disputed.
In Abia North, Honorable Mao A. Ohwabunwa, also of the PDP, was returned elected as with total votes of 47,027.
I found it difficult to append my signature on the returning document. My suggestion, and even the report which I wrote to Resident Electoral Commissioner, is that we do a rerun of this election and put in our security operatives, guide these votes from the polling units to the point where they will be collated and the results computed, and whoever wins takes it.
At the INEC headquarters, it is an issue which is being looked at.
If the returning officer, the appointed returning officer, says there are irregularities, those irregularities will be investigated, interrogated, and they will be ascertained whether they were valid or not.
Those disputing the results insist that due process was not adhered to, and they are asking for restitution. Nigerians, on the other part, will be hoping that whatever steps are taken should be civil, done with decorum to the extent that violence is not considered as an option in settling the issues in contention.
Just like in Abia State, controversy also trails the National Assembly results announced by INEC in Anambra State in southeast Nigeria. Candidates of the All Progressive Grand Alliance, APGA, have rejected the results and are accusing candidates of the People's Democratic Party of rigging the election and intimidating INEC ad hoc staff. The PDP, however, refutes those accusations.
Pending the commencement of the governorship and House of Assembly elections, Some of these INEC officials, as well as the voters, can catch their breath. But that is one luxury that the candidates themselves do not have. The All Progressives Grand Alliance candidate for Anambra South Senatorial Zone and former Vice Chairman of Nigeria Communications Commission, NCC, Dr. Ernest Ndukwe, says that no proper collation was done anywhere in Anambra South Senatorial Zone during last Saturday's National Assembly election.
It is also interesting to know that in many of these local government collation centers, armed men with some PDP stalwarts stormed these locations, brandishing orders, preventing party representatives from going in, having open inducement of INEC staff. I will say it categorically here, without fear of any contradiction, that Andioba, Mr. Andioba of PDP, knows very well that he did not win this election. I expect him, if he has any honor in him, to come out and surrender this mandate to me.
However, the chairman of the Election Operation Committee of the People's Democratic Party, Mr. Ken Emeakayi, disagrees with Dr. Ndukwe.
Chief Ernest Ndukwe as a person should ordinarily go and hide his face in shame. To the fact that the same man that was caught red-handed at the INEC office in Nnewi, together with the DPO of Nnewi, the divisional police officer in Nnewi, who is from Orifte, the same kindred with him, who he planted there, and the DPO was busy taking away results sheets, handing over to Ernest Ndukwe, and they were falsifying it before we arrived. So the same man that was caught in the very act is the man now talking about rigging. So if there was anything rigging, it was what Ernest Ndukwe was trying to do before the PDP agents arrived, and he was caught red-handed.
It's the same issue at play in Anambra North Senatorial Zone. The Abia candidate there, Mr. Dubem Obaze, has faulted the victory of the PDP candidate, former Aviation Minister, Mrs. Stella Odua. Mr. Obaze says that the card readers did not work while voting started late and stretched into the night.
If you check in the places where the elections, All Progressive Grand Alliance won all of it. But when you now get to the collation results and the declaration itself, you don't even know what happened. Where did they even do this declaration? Who are the returning officers? There were no collation officers. They didn't show up in anywhere until 8 p.m. at night.
If you consider the groundswell of love that Stella generated, it is such that if the result had been otherwise, ordinary folks like me and you would go to the streets, because it was a cult following where everybody, all the women, and you know, they couldn't call her, in some places they won't call her Stella, they'll call her Sitella, and Sitella became synonymous with hope.
With these protests that are ongoing, it does appear that election tribunal would be busy, unless of course the aggrieved parties decide to shift their swords and withdraw their protest.
In part 2, after the break, INEC declares Delta Central senatorial polls inconclusive. That's in a moment. Please stay with us.